say my friend is a psycho. My roommate Colin seemed normal when he moved in. Split bills perfectly, kept common areas clean, even brought me coffee sometimes. The perfect roommate, or so I thought. Then I started noticing weird things. My food would be slightly rearranged in the fridge, not missing, just moved, like someone had cataloged every item and put them back in the wrong spots. My Netflix showed episodes I'd never watched, but when I asked Colin about it, he just shrugged and said maybe the account got hacked. The creepy stuff escalated slowly. I'd find my bedroom door slightly ajar when I knew I'd closed it. My laundry would smell different, like someone else's detergent. One morning I woke up and my alarm clock was facing the wrong direction. Small things that made me question my own sanity. My boyfriend started complaining that I seemed paranoid. You're imagining things, she'd say when I mentioned the weird occurrences, but I knew something was off. I started taking photos of how I left things just to prove to myself I wasn't going crazy. One night, I pretended to leave for my boyfriend's place, but parked around the corner and snuck back. I watched through our window as Colin went into my room and just stood there for 20 minutes, touching my clothes, smelling my pillow, going through my dresser drawers with surgical precision. He had a notebook where he was writing down detailed observations. The lighting from my desk lamp illuminated his face, and I could see this disturbing smile as he worked, like he was enjoying every second of violating my privacy. I confronted him the next morning. He laughed it off, said he was just borrowing a phone charger. His explanation seemed reasonable enough that I almost believed him. Dude, you're being paranoid, he said with that same unsettling smile. Maybe you should talk to someone about that. But that nagging feeling wouldn't go away. I started paying closer attention to his behavior. He'd always appear right after I got home from work, asking detailed questions about my day, where I went, who I talked to, what I ate for lunch. I'd chalked it up to friendly roommate conversation, but now it felt like interrogation. That night, I set up a hidden camera I'd borrowed from my cousin who does security work. I told Colin I was staying at my boyfriend's again and left around 9 p.m., making a big show of grabbing my overnight bag. The footage was absolutely horrifying. Every night after I went to bed, he'd creep into my room and take photos of me sleeping. Hundreds of them. Different angles, different poses, like he was documenting some kind of scientific study. Then he'd sit in my chair and just stare at me for hours. Sometimes he'd whisper things I couldn't make out on the recording. The most disturbing part was how methodical he was. He'd measure the distance between objects on my nightstand, document what position I slept in, even collect samples of hair from my pillow. Everything was recorded in that same notebook with timestamps and detailed observations. But the worst part? When I finally worked up the courage to check his phone while he was in the shower, I found a group chat called Colin's Roommate Updates with 12 random numbers. He'd been sending daily reports about everything I did, what I ate, what time I showered, who I talked to on the phone, what shows I watched, detailed behavioral analysis like I was some kind of lab rat. He was treating me like a reality TV show for complete strangers. People were responding with comments and requests. Make her watch horror movies tonight, or hide her keys and see how he reacts. They were betting on my daily routines. One person had even sent money through Venmo for premium content. The chat logs went back 8 months. He'd been planning this before he even moved in. He'd specifically sought me out as a roommate through our mutual friend Jenna, who had no idea what she'd gotten me into. There were screenshots of my social media, photos from my dating profiles, even my work schedule that he'd somehow obtained. I found messages where he'd convinced people to pay him for exclusive access to my private life. He was literally profiting off my privacy. Some of the requests from his audience were getting increasingly dark and invasive. When I moved out that week, I waited until he left for work and came back with my dad and 2 friends to pack everything quickly. While grabbing my stuff, I found a hidden box under his bed. It contained my hair from the shower drain, tissues from my trash, even nail clippings I'd never noticed were missing. There was also a detailed journal rating my daily activities on a scale of 1 to 10 for entertainment value. Apparently, my breakup with my ex-boyfriend 6 months ago was his highest rated episode. He documented my emotions, what I ate during the depression spiral, how many tissues I used. The last entry just said, season finale coming soon. Viewers requesting dramatic conclusion, considering intervention to create crisis scenario. I never found out what he had planned, but I'm pretty sure I dodged something truly terrifying. I reported everything to the police, but they said since he hadn't physically hurt me, there wasn't much they could do. I still check my locks twice every night.